MultimediaJay radio style.
Let's try. I gotta fix that. I totally have to fix that. So returning to what we're doing here. Let's see here. Before the break, we were talking about debate format with Ashni Christ's latest video, taking a look at her numbers her revenue source numbers and putting that into perspective with online media versus a so-called real job. During the break, I heard one of the hillbilly neighbors on my street hammering something. I hope they don't hammer too loudly if they don't want their hammering to wind up on the internet. We shall continue testing the noise filters on here. And now let's get back to debate format. I'm so going to break a browser at the rate that I'm going. Debate format with Firefox because another video has come out. Okay, good. We got to move a few things. All right, so we're not going to need the calculator anymore, so that is done for now. Let's put myself over here and get the other side of my screen back so I can do this and not have it be off camera. So this time in frame number 2 here, we have somebody who is one of the YouTube folks and YouTube Creator Insider recently posted an update. I have not seen this video yet, so I hope I don't have to adjust this again later on. So let's actually do this over to the side and then do this. So I have room to do this if I'm like, yeah! And let's take a look at this latest YouTube Creator Insider video. So the next thing we're gonna talk about, I don't know if I'll even get to the audit of the YouTube channel post Delosaurus, but I want to do Power Query work on looking at the numbers. We'll do that later. We also still have to talk about the upcoming launch of Ven, see if we can get that done. But now, YouTube Creator Insider created a video called The Future of YouTube Live. YouTube versus Twitch is a live streaming showdown that I'm keeping a very close eye on. Because YouTube has a very robust streaming offering for people that just want to be streamers. But there's a bit of a problem if you want to do both streaming and YouTube uploads. So I want to know, does this video address the ongoing questions that I have regarding YouTube developing its streaming component to better compete with Twitch? Is it going to be red versus purple anytime soon? Because, again, apples and oranges, Twitch under Amazon is not in the same position as YouTube under Google. It is not history repeating itself, and I highly do not expect Twitch to turn into purple YouTube anytime soon. So let's get everything in the right spot here, and let's watch this video and respond to it and see if these YouTube folks are going to surprise me here. Hello, Insiders. Today I have a special guest, Vishal, from the live team, to tell us what they've been up to recently. How YouTubers lie to you. Oh boy, these related videos, man. Today we have a special guest, Vishal, from the live team to tell us what they've been up to recently, what features you can expect to see in the future. Check it out and leave us your comments and questions below. YouTube, I'm gonna do one better for that. I am actually going to do debate format react content to this video. The future of live from a YouTube product manager. In 3, 2, 1. Let's see what's going on with these folks.
Hello, Insiders. Today we got a very special guest interview. We have Vishal from the live team. Vishal leads the product team across all of YouTube Live. So yes, we are here to talk about YouTube Live today. I know Vishal and the live team have been very busy.
And who are you, sir? You should introduce yourself. So last time we talked about a YouTube Creator Insider video, I commented that the YouTube person who did that was using a decent microphone and a decent camera, and looks like we're back to laptop stuff and voice calls and stuff like that. YouTube, your showmanship with Creator Insider needs to be consistent and set a standard consistently. Folks cannot be using stock laptop equipment for these videos. Come on, YouTube. You want to be more than just what you were 15 years ago. Step it up, bro.
Lately, Vishal, we have gotten a lot of requests in the past from Creator Insider channel audience for them wanting to understand live area better. So, hopefully this will be the way to do that. We will talk about what's the mission for the live team, the impact of COVID-19 on live, the things live team has been working on, and the things that what the live team is thinking of doing next. And this also, I guess, gives us an opportunity, Vishal, to get feedback from the audience, especially the ones who use live product a lot.
So right here, we have a lesson in showmanship. and why you want to ham things up for entertainment value. This looks like a conference call, and it sounds like a conference call. If you have any background in corporate America, you've heard this way of talking before, and it's 100% professional, it's 100% corporate, but it doesn't transfer very well to an entertainment environment like people sitting down to watch videos on YouTube. So again, a little bit of a worlds colliding thing here, but I'll try and keep this from becoming too dull by being the punch-up guy, so to speak, that tries to keep things entertaining, even if this does sound like a boring conference call.
So let's zoom out a little bit first. What's actually the live team's mission?
Thanks, Himanshu. So live is a really unique format. Especially in sort of the environment that we are in today, where it's really challenging to have in-person physical meetings. We feel like live offers a way for people to stay connected.
Okay, so this is something that I've come to notice from YouTube with their streaming offerings, is that they are more general purpose than what Twitch has. Twitch has a culture behind it. There needs to always be a streamer. You can't have non-interactive content, and there's got to be this community aspect to it. YouTube is like, we have live streaming. And even though it's been called YouTube gaming before, it looks like now they're trying to take the live component of YouTube in the direction of what something like Zoom meetings have and stuff like that. A little note, by the way, I'm very cosmopolitan when it comes to people from diverse backgrounds, and I don't mean the magazine. I mean the original definition of the word, which means open-minded and taking input from all different sources. So when it comes to folks from India and the way they speak, I don't have any issue with that. And it's not because I'm any kind of tech guy at all. The folks in India learn it from the British, just like we in America did. So, anyways, that'd be like if I was like, Southerners, they're like, they drawl everything out. It's disrespectful. All right, what do these folks have to talk about here?
So my team's mission is really to take the video experience that we have on YouTube and augment it into one that really brings in that aspect of live. We are often fond of saying that our mission is to create a shared interactive community.
And in these unprecedented times with COVID-19.
Oh, they're cutting themselves off. Oh man, this is a conference call. Is there a part where somebody says, hey man, you're on mute? Or there's some noise in the background. Can somebody please put their phone on mute? Oh, I've been on a few of these before. This is all very familiar to me.
How is live coming across? How is the product is being used? What are you hearing from the creators?
So I'll give you like some of my favorite examples that I've seen in live over the past few months. One area that I'll start talking about, which I think is probably very top of mind for everybody right now, is the value that we think live provides by helping public officials inform and educate their constituents.
Okay, so politicians then, like the live town hall, like if you tune into the Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump channels on Twitch, that kind of stuff. So yeah, again, with the whole thing with YouTube streaming being more general purpose, with YouTube, you're not going to see the kind of culture around streaming like you see on Twitch. Again, there has to always be a streamer, can't be non-interactive content. If you do a sleep stream, you got to declassify your stream, all this other stuff. But one of the points that I brought up earlier, and this is a very important thing to remember, is that people can derive entertainment from live streaming from all different kinds of streams, whether there's a streamer or not. Last go around, we mentioned Tiny Kittens HQ, which, excuse me, is an animal shelter, a veterinarian, or something like that, I think. And they have live feeds going of places where they're raising foster kittens and stuff like that. So you have types of entertainment that is live on YouTube that doesn't necessarily involve a personality or a streamer, and YouTube is a bit more open-minded about that stuff. Whereas Twitch, it's about, this person streams Call of Duty, this person streams Fortnite. You don't really see the kind of streaming without a streamer on Twitch that you do on YouTube. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if there were municipalities at some point that added traffic cameras to YouTube. So, I gotta go to Boston today. Hey, how's this? Is this bridge backed up, or is this highway backed up? Let's check the cameras without having to wait for it to come on the news on TV. Like, oh, I got a live feed on my phone. Oh, there's a traffic snarl up at that exit on the Mass Pike. So I'm gonna punch this into the GPS and find a way to drive around it. So there are numerous things that YouTube could do with streaming, not just live meetings like this, that would probably give them some kind of concentrated coolness versus Twitch and Facebook. Twitch has that gaming component to it. Even though they're trying to expand into non-gaming content, like just chatting, like what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't still have this in ESO mode, right? Of course not. And then over on Facebook, it's called Facebook Gaming. So, we're trying to be like Twitch 5 years ago. Come stream American Truck Simulator, and we'll plug your stream on Facebook. Facebook's a completely different animal altogether. Let's focus entirely on YouTube versus Twitch. We continue.
Another sort of like thing that we're seeing that we're actually very proud of is like this explosion of learning that we're seeing on the platform. So there are examples like creators like Khan Academy using live streaming to run classes or to run AMAs or Ask Me Anything. We've seen, at least for me personally, in this time, I'm cooking a lot more at home. I'm trying to work out at home, and we're seeing this cooking classes and exercise classes as people try to learn new skills, which is another area that we're particularly proud of.
It doesn't necessarily have to be classes, though. I screwed up the mugshot. Sorry. It's something I tend to do when I'm doing this kind of stuff. All right, so here's the next part of this discussion that we got to talk about here is it's not just classes, though. During the quarantine and the lockdowns, even some streamers on Twitch expanded beyond video games to do cooking streams, like SFan, for example. He has a following of people that like seeing him doing stuff other than playing video games. The SFan Ginny thing was a wonderful example of that. But the cooking stream and stuff, when you can't, when everything's locked down and stuff, and you're basically plugged into the internet to make up for the lack of safe social options you have, because you don't know who has this virus and you don't know what it's going to do to you if you get it, stuff online is a great way to make up for that. And the streamers like SFan who really nail down this whole thing where it's like you're going over a friend's house and watching them play video games or do other stuff, they have a lot to gain from the stuff that this guy's talking about. It's not just classes.
And then finally, I think, not to discount it at all, we think it's extremely important is...
Oh, don't forget the TV shows that are looking like Zoom meetings or remote meetings and stuff like that because of social distancing guidelines. A lot of late night stuff that I've been seeing at the 9 to 5 during my last break of the night usually fits those categories. And of course, the John Oliver stuff on YouTube as well, to bring things closer to home for YouTube folks, has turned into what looks like a really good done at home type thing. Same thing with all those people at the TV stations that are broadcasting from home. Oh, look, the weather guy's in his living room again telling us about this storm coming through and stuff. So it really is. I mean, it's funny, if you've been around YouTube, to go all the way back to the early days of vlogging to see that format, seeing a revival with all of this social distancing and sheltering in place and stuff like that.
Sort of the entertainment value. We think it's kind of important in this time for people to have some semblance of normalcy and be able to indulge in something that they might enjoy.
I swear I didn't just read the guy's mind. He's obviously a smart guy, and we thought of the same thing at the same time, so whatever. Actually, this is pre-recorded.
Charles, working with your team, that you guys have been working really, really hard, and I thought it would be nice for our audience to also know like what you guys have been up to in the last 12 months. What features have you guys shipped or on the process of shipping?
So yeah, the live team has actually really been working hard on getting new features to creators.
So I think I've been fishbowled by Twitch. Before we get into this, I think I've been fishbowled by trying to develop a Twitch channel for the last couple of months. My only goal is affiliate because of Twitch's inherent limitations. So 3 concurrent viewers, folks, over the span of a month. However, I came over here looking for discussions about YouTube's live streaming options and how they would affect the brewing rivalry between YouTube and Twitch. YouTube has experienced some very serious growth when it comes to live streaming, to the extent that I'm wondering if they're focusing too much on live streaming and not enough on their bread and butter of uploads. So I was thinking about that. I wasn't even thinking about the ways in which YouTube has content and capabilities that Twitch right now doesn't really have a lot of. Like, for example, streams without streamers, or distance learning, or the kinds of remote classes or other stuff like that. That is not as much of a thing, although it does. Twitch has been rolling out some new categories recently and some new classifications for people that want to make this kind of content. So I don't think Twitch is just sitting idly by and letting YouTube beat them into this creator space.
The first feature that comes to mind for me is our live control room. So the live control room is essentially the equivalent of studio for live creators.
Yes, and it's one of the worst things about streaming on YouTube. Having to do half the stuff that is done through an OBS plugin for Twitch or even Mixer before through a web browser. Clunk-y. Please tell me that something is going to happen to the UI for streaming on YouTube. Ah!
It's a complete rewrite of our desktop live creation toolset, and it's where creators go if they want to start live streaming.
I hope it looks good whenever I see it. Maybe I should try streaming on YouTube sometime soon to see if they've made any progress. Yes. So, first off, there are two elements of the YouTube UI that desperately need to be improved if YouTube is to be a beefier streaming competitor versus Twitch. First is the interface you go live with. It has a few too many extra steps, and it's a little too clunky. Second is being able to flip from videos to live streams and back. Should be a simple toggle in the corner of the screen to be able to switch between the two environments. I want to be able, if I want to watch streams specifically, I want to be able to watch them on YouTube like I'm on Twitch, and have a toggle for when I want to flip between streams and uploads, the two ecosystems. Right now, it's all jumbled together, and one of the problems with discoverability on YouTube for streaming, ha 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 ha, some of the commentators disagree with me on this. One of the discoverability issues, besides the algorithms messing everything up like they often do, because they're often works in progress, one of the biggest discoverability issues I've seen on YouTube is it simply takes too many extra clicks to specifically look for live streamers if you're not already subscribed to somebody and they've gone live. If they've gone live, they show up in your sub box off on the left-hand side of the screen. It takes too many extra clicks. And when things take too many extra clicks on any platform, YouTube, Twitch, or otherwise, it hurts discoverability because it just takes too much work to stumble across your content.
As the live control room has many great features for creators, probably the first thing that I'll start is like live control room allows us to give more feedback to creators about how their stream is doing. So the quality of the ingestion, or how many people are watching, or how many chat messages are coming through. And then we've done this in a way that the surface is extensible, and over time we can add additional analytics that we want creators to see.
Oh, that is YouTube's bread and butter, analytics. They have the beefier analytics suite versus Twitch. If you can get more real-time performance, even a real-time view count, that's one thing. That's one of the reasons why I have a copy of my stream going when I'm streaming on Twitch, because actually, whoops. That's one of the reasons why I have a copy of my stream going when I stream on Twitch, is because, let me look at the other browser here, is because it has a faster updating view counter than OBS's plugin does. So I can see some of the shifts of people coming and going a lot faster, but even that can be a little on the slow side. There have been times when the number hadn't updated yet and somebody new said something in the chat. So definitely the sort of thing that will give YouTube an edge if they improve on this. Twitch will probably be working hard to improve it on their end as well, but the problem I think Twitch is going to have is resources. YouTube is far more valuable to Google as their face in the video world than Twitch is to Amazon as essentially an improvement in the value of an Amazon Prime subscription with Twitch Prime and whatnot. Remember, Amazon is a different company, different kind of company than Google. And also, Amazon already has had a video platform before they bought Twitch. In a way, once upon a time, there was talk of YouTube and Google buying Twitch. Things might have worked out better for Twitch if Google was the parent company instead of Amazon. But what happened, and here we are. We continue.
Another really exciting innovation for me is the ability to incorporate new features that we're working on, like highlights. So highlights is a feature that allows.
That is YouTube addressing one of the single biggest reasons why anybody would want to stream on Twitch to make something for YouTube like what I do. Highlights. Cloud editing. When you download, edit, and re-upload, you can have issues with the files going corrupt or the AV going out of sync because of issues within the MP4s and the encoders. It depends on the quality of your video editor. If you have something that where it's really simple to cut it up and send it to YouTube and make YouTube videos out of it, YouTube is a terrible place for VODs. Horrible. You don't want your audience on YouTube to see, especially if you want to make uploads, 15-minute video, 15-minute video, 15-minute video, 6-hour VOD. You just don't want that. It completely breaks the show flow and the showmanship that you have as a content creator on YouTube. You just don't want that. And so one of the biggest things that YouTube needs to work on is the ability to cloud edit things so that it's not as much of a disruption for you to stream on YouTube. You can put the VODs into their own category and hopefully YouTube's algorithms keep them a little separate so your audience who wants to binge watch your videos isn't thrown off too much by autoplay of 6-hour VOD between a bunch of itty-bitty videos. So this is huge. One of the big reasons to do things on Twitch and then send it to YouTube is to cloud edit on Twitch and then send everything over as YouTube videos, which is what I do a lot. But if YouTube can do this in-house, you don't need Twitch anymore. Makes me wonder when there's going to be a clip functionality versus Twitch, and how is that going to work versus the Twitch version of it. Of course, I'm not going to joke about clips too much. They've gotten some Twitch streamers in trouble in recent months, and Mixer, before they shut down, was like, ah, wonderful new feature, we have clips, woohoo! And that was one of the ways that I knew that Mixer was behind the 8-ball and so many things before they shut down. Sorry, Microsoft.
Allows a creator to make highlights of their live streams while they're actually live streaming.
Do not limit, while they're live streaming. Another shot across Twitch's bow. YouTube, do not limit that to live streaming. Make that part of a cloud editor so that people can edit their videos in the cloud. It'll reduce the barriers to entry of becoming a YouTuber with good production value if there's a cloud editor in YouTube Studio. Even if it's not as robust as a standalone video editor, it'll reduce the barriers to entry for getting into YouTube, which is one of the big advantages that streaming has over making videos. And at the very same time, if someone has a copyright issue, it'd be nice if they could edit out the offending content instead of losing monetization on a 6-hour stream or whatever, because some content rights holder out there somewhere took all their ad revenue because of a little copyrighted clip that snuck into a live stream or something. That's another idea that I've had for a while. The content ID system should be changed into something that's proportionate. So if you use a copyrighted song that takes up 3 minutes of a 20-minute video, the rights holder gets your ad revenue from 3 minutes of a 20-minute video instead of all 20 minutes of it. And it eventually adds up that way. I think even the record companies might like that when they ran the numbers on it and realized they could extract revenue from other people using copyrighted songs without offending people away from using copyrighted songs in their videos. Same thing too if the disciplinary system were revamped so that the timed takedown for DMCA was always what happened instead of instant versus timed takedowns. So you have a rights holder like the RIAA or something that is going to give you a copyright strike, and you have 30 days to sort everything out or remove the offending clip. If that is standard and you always have time to maybe talk to the rights holder and sort it all out or remove the clip yourself, I think creators would be a lot happier on this platform.
And then highlights could be anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 hours in length. And they're saved as like a separate standalone video.
So I think that's pretty good for that would correspond to most of what I've made. A lot of my streams, tonight's going to be a wild exception, but a lot of my live streams are never more than 2 hours. They're actually like a time slotted radio show. So I've kind of settled into that pattern, especially late at night because I have to get to sleep for work the next day. So I think the 2 hour limit will be pretty good. Plus, again, show flow. People on YouTube trying to find videos to watch are not going to want to watch a lot of stuff that's hours long unless they really, really like you and keep coming back to watch in chunks, or they have nothing better to do.
That the creator can then share with their community.
Plus, one of the key advantages of YouTube is the ability to edit and craft something for your audience instead of whatever happens, happens. So show flow matters as well.
And then finally, the last change, which is probably not so obvious to creators. Frankly, if we've done our job right, we hope creators won't even realize this. But we have two very core journeys to live streaming that we think about. One is the ability to stream now, or the ability to go live immediately. And then the other one is the ability to schedule a stream for later.
Schedule. Welcome back to Commonwealth English, ladies and gentlemen. Or do other folks besides us Americans say schedule instead of schedule? Oh, man. Yes. See, there's beauty in diversity. It keeps things entertaining. When you run into somebody who's like, oh, why do they do things differently like that? It's one of the things I run into with what I call the Korea Voltron streamers, the Ginny crowd. It's interesting to see folks in South Korea and the way they sit down to eat or something. But despite all the Western influence, how do they still do things differently than us? And does it make sense? I've very seriously thought about trying to lose weight by eating the way the Korean folks do, with metal chopsticks and taking smaller bites. I'm a little too used to shoveling with a fork or spoon. But I'm wondering, if I made a lot of rice-based dishes and did things with chopsticks the way they do, could I lose weight by eating for a half hour but taking in less calories by doing that? Different discussion. We continue.
Which we've called events. Interestingly, these features were actually built on different tech stacks.
Hold on a second. He's talking about, I think this is where he lagged out or something because I'm still in HD. Come on, YouTube. That's one of the things that YouTube has an edge over Twitch on. Twitch has the schedule and it autofills as you stream, but if you're going to have a special event, you can't make something that people can have open before you go live. So let's say Devin Nash is doing some kind of 2-hour special on something. I want to watch his show. I can be playing video games with the window open on screen number 2, and when it starts making noise, I mute the video game and have a listen, or shut off the video game, bring it back to the TV, and watch the thing on the big screen. That's a feature that Twitch is missing versus YouTube on the streaming front. You can create something that people can go to the page to ahead of time, even before you go live. So when you do go live, it's all ready to go.
And while that is obviously not something that creators need to be worried about, what that meant was every time we wanted to add a feature, we had to have it in 2 places, and it made it a lot harder for us to respond to some of the feedback that we were getting from creators. So what I'm really excited about is one of the things that we did is that we've actually merged our tech stacks so that in the future, we can actually roll out features much more quickly. And then another area that I'll talk about is chat safety. So I talked a lot about how live is about watching together with the community.
This is an old Twitch problem that a lot of the third parties like Stream Elements and Streamlabs and stuff have kind of worked out, is people trying to get you to break TOS by pop-ups, TTS, things like that. So YouTube playing catch up on that, especially if YouTubers are showing their chat in the middle of live streams. Because remember, we're talking a united disciplinary system. You don't want to risk losing access to the best upload platform in the world because of something that happens on a live stream. No matter how many new features YouTube rolls out, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a deterrent to streaming on YouTube versus streaming on Twitch and then cutting everything up and sending it over to YouTube after the fact as videos. Different discussion, but not really.
Right? Which we're really proud of. But at the same time, sometimes when we've seen folks will join the community and they may be hateful or demeaning. So a lot of our efforts over the last few months have gone into tightening up our spam protections to make sure that chat is a safe environment for everybody to participate in.
This is not a streaming problem, YouTube. This is an everywhere problem. YouTube has a weaker disciplinary system than Twitch. The banning system in particular has been nerfed. In the earlier days of YouTube, when I was first getting started over there was a point where if you banned somebody, they couldn't even subscribe to you. They'd get an error message. You cannot subscribe to somebody that has blocked you. Well, that turned into a shadow banning system. which some people like, but they don't realize the unintended consequences of shadow banning all the time. If I ban someone, their comments just won't show up. But the thing is, it leaves open other ways to keep trolling somebody if you want to harass someone. So, let's say I want to troll somebody. I harass them, they ban me. Then I just dislike everything they upload until I get bored and move on. But I still have the dislike button, another one of the inherent weaknesses of the dislike system. Also, sock puppet accounts and things like that. It's not hard to find out that I've been banned and create a sock puppet account to go back and do other stuff. Now, let's compare that to Twitch. When you're banned on Twitch, you're thrown out of the chat, you can't even see chat, and your IP shadow banned, so if you make sock puppet accounts, you'll just be screaming into the void. But there is some kind of, you can't be part of the community if someone bans you. Makes for a nice deterrent if you ever think you want to be in someone's chat ever again. So, it may chill some of the feedback that Twitch streamers get if they're asking for feedback, because people don't want to upset the streamer and get banned, or upset one of the mods and get banned. But it's a stronger, harsher system than what YouTube has.
And then finally, one of the areas that we are working on very hard is search and discovery. So we want to make it easier for viewers to actually find the content that they are interested in. We recently rolled out the live chip in the Explore tab on mobile to make it easier to find for viewers to find live streams that they're interested in.
What about on desktop? Don't forget the computers. When I'm sitting at home on my in my nerdy living room here in the Geek House, and I've got a huge 37-inch TV hooked up to my computer, well, huge by when I bought its standards. Let's say I could always get like a 55-inch TV. When I have a nice setup at home with a computer and a big TV, I don't want to be watching stuff. Is it around here? I heard it vibrating earlier. Where's my other phone? Yeah, anyways, pretend this remote control is a smartphone. Hey, at least I can find the remote. When I have a really nice... Oh, there it is. Almost got pushed off the edge of the desk, so I'm glad I found it. So, when I want to watch a live stream on YouTube, I don't want to have to look at it on this itty-bitty screen. On an itty-bitty screen like this. I don't want to watch it on an itty-bitty phone when I've got a really nice setup like this. Of course, there is another Google product like the Chromecast that can kind of sort of turn your TV into, oh yeah, dial it up on the phone and put it on the big screen. But don't forget us computer people, YouTube, please.
We also changed the way live streams show up in search so that when a viewer is actually searching for like a creator, we highlight live streams or premieres that might be coming up.
You know, me personally, having worked on studio migration from Classic to Studio, I can totally relate the rewrite of the LCR that you're talking about. I think these are, I'm not quite sure how old the previous version was, but I know that in Studio, there were a lot of stuff that was written like over a decade ago. So the tech stack was very brittle. So I guess, you know, every decade or so, we have to take the plunge of, rewriting stuff to make it scalable, faster.
And of course, it's good that they're going over this stuff, because again, one of the biggest things that hurts discoverability on YouTube on the live streaming side is too many extra clicks. So they're working on mobile. I'd love to see them do something like this on desktop though, so they can have all formats being the same no matter what size screen you're watching on. But that's the thing. They're racing against Twitch to better their discoverability. Twitch is already known for discoverability issues and weaker algorithms to recommend you to other people. So that is an ongoing problem.
And it
makes me wonder when YouTube is going to have something like raids and stuff, so that when you're done with a stream, you can send your audience, hey, check out this creator while we're at it. Some people don't like raids over on Twitch, Mr. Nash. But other than that, you know, for feature parity and all that, to have the option available. That's one of Twitch's biggest advantages over YouTube right now, is they double down on their bread and butter. They have a lot of features that are better off for streaming as opposed to videos. And YouTube's in the other direction, but they're trying to catch up. And they're huge if they do.
It's great that it's actually coming towards its end. So that's a good segue into the next thing, which is I still see that there are some live features which have not been fully natively built in Studio, and there are still links to Classic that opens up a new tab. So what's your guys' plan on that?
Himanshu, I think you've caught us with our hands in the cookie jar.
Whoops.
Let me tell you a little story about why that's happening and how we're going to address that. So we actually first started rolling out Live Control Room at the beginning of the year, and we got feedback from the creator community. And what we found is that the flow that we had created was confusing creators. Some creators were unintentionally resetting their stream keys. Some of them could not go live because they made a change where we made a change where even though you were sending us bits from your encoder, you had to come to the live control room and hit a go live button. And this was new to creators, and they did not realize they had to do this. So ultimately, this was a very frustrating experience for some of our creators.
So here's the thing that we got to keep in mind here with all of this. Yes, there is going to be technical issues. I've talked recently about how various features on YouTube have been going up and down quite a bit. But the big thing here is all of this is a side effect of YouTube scrambling to work on their systems. Twitch has something similar going on, and sometimes things break with Twitch as well. But let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, what all of this represents. All of it. Competition. One of the reasons why YouTubers have the frustrations that they have with YouTube is because YouTube is a monopoly on uploads. There is no YouTube competitor out there that has ever been as successful as YouTube. The closest would be the Chinese answer to YouTube behind the Great Firewall of China, Youku, which that we know is being propped up by the infamous Great Firewall of China and the Chinese government wanting to curate the content that Chinese citizens get to see. So you got a little bit of beyond market forces in there propping up that video service. Next after that, from when I was looking at these numbers over on Wikipedia a long time ago, is Dailymotion over in France. But Dailymotion was bought out by Vivendi and taken in a very different direction compared to being a YouTube competitor. We've discussed that on this show as well. So it's nice to see that YouTube is scrambling to compete with Twitch and Facebook for these kinds of features, but mostly Twitch, I'd say, at this point. Facebook is still an up-and-coming entity in this war between the big tech companies over live streaming. But I don't want uploads to get lost in the shuffle somewhere. A lot of these nice features that YouTube is developing for streaming should go over to uploads. Like, for example, supers, like super chat and super stickers. Ways to dono people. If those were on uploads with a tip button, and there have been YouTube competitors that have attempted to compete with YouTube before that had direct tipping functionality built into the UI. If uploads had a dono button, there could be a situation where it would take away one of the compelling reasons that many streamers who want to grow and go full time are going over to the live streaming platforms like Twitch. The monetization for, as we've looked at the numbers with Ashney Christ before the break, the monetization can easily eclipse YouTube ad revenue. So YouTube needs to appeal more to the Scroogey side of creators, which I know people say, oh, e-beggars, sellouts. But actually, I think a lot more creators are driven by this promise of trying to become a full-time content creator than many of them would care to admit. So, come on, folks. In the same situation, would you spring for something like that with how bad 9-to-5 jobs can be these days and how broken the onboarding processes can be at so many companies out there? We continue.
And so we feel that there is a lot of long-term value that we're creating with the live control room, with features like highlights, with analytics, and from unifying the tech stack. So we decided to keep the live control room, but we wanted to fix the feedback. So while we were working on those fixes, we introduced links back to the classic product so that creators could go back and continue to use the Stream Now interface that they had become used to. We're now actually coming to the point that we are gearing up to launch the new live control room to all of our users, including Stream Now users. And our goal actually here is to make sure that all these users that are using the classic product have like a smooth on-ramp into the new live control room. We want their experience to be at least as smooth as they felt as it was in classic, if not better.
Yeah, I can totally imagine how tricky the situation is. But I guess this is the kind of color that our viewers and creators can hear from you and understand how we are thinking about this and hopefully empathize with the whole situation. But I think ultimately what I'm hearing is everything will be built natively in Studio. So which is great. Let's switch to this future a little bit, both short term and long term.
Oh, this should be very interesting. I definitely want to hear this part. I was checking a few things with that discussion about uniting the tech stacks back together, which is more technical details than some stuff related to business and strategy. Oh, man. Let's see what these guys have to say now.
So can you put a little bit light on what are the things that you folks are working in the short term that need immediate attention, and also areas that long term you folks are thinking on investing?
So, in first, I just want to say, like, we've seen an explosion of creation happening on our platform because of the current environment where a lot of countries have been very adversely impacted by the health crisis. So we've actually taken that very seriously. We think this is a responsibility that we have to make sure that we are meeting these creators at this time and giving them the tools they need.
Yes, but that affects every platform, not just YouTube. Twitch had a massive explosion in hours watched last quarter. The problem is they also had a massive explosion in hours streamed as more people were trying to become streamers. So it hasn't helped the ratio of hours watched to hours streamed. YouTube has a far better ratio, and they have a reason for people to be on YouTube when they're not watching live streams, and they have a better technical set of features for new streamers, like transcoding when you first get started. We've looked at multiple streams on here before that were playing ESO to nobody, and they had transcoding available. Whereas over on Twitch, I've seen people become affiliates, get up to like 30 concurrent viewers, and get their transcoding taken away. There wasn't enough resources. So you have Twitch taking away transcoding when that could actually be a technical barrier to people on crappier internet connections when you're streaming video games at 1080-60, and now you need the bandwidth down to watch a 1080-60 stream in order to see that stream. So this is why I'm keeping an eye on YouTube specifically. Facebook has Facebook Gaming. They have some potential, but the real monster that's waiting to wake up is YouTube. Reclaiming the crown. But all of this is thanks to competition.
Some of the areas that we're focused on are discovery and safety. So let me start with a little bit about discovery.
Ooh, lag. At least it's on their end, though.
One of our goals is to really help streamers get started on YouTube. So we want to make sure that when they actually come to studio or to the live control room, they have a very smooth on-ramp and the ability to go live with minimal friction.
What about people being able to see their streams? That's the missing link with Twitch. I have spent a couple of hours over the last couple of weeks digging around the bottom of various game categories to see for myself that there are other streamers on Twitch that have some production value to what they do that can't get an audience. Now, there's the recommended small communities thing, which might start picking you up at about 15 concurrent viewers. The question is, how do you get out of that bump on a log rookie stage? Even just getting to affiliate. I've been streaming for months and I still don't have that. That only requires 3 concurrent viewers, which is harder than you might think if you're starting from square one. Many of the streamers that I've seen become affiliates, including Joanne Tech Lover, who's now getting up to 30 to 40 concurrent viewers, are bringing an audience from somewhere else. People know about Joanne from YouTube, and they know maybe you're modeling pictures on Twitter or something, or Instagram or something like that. But the thing is, she's bringing an audience from somewhere else. Once upon a time, I had some criticism of YouTube as well, that many bigger YouTubers were bringing audiences from somewhere else and skipping steps in the algorithm as a result of that. So they just said discoverability, and now they're talking about how easy it is to start streaming. What about how easy it is to build an audience? And could this be the beginning of the end of these frustrations on the upload side for when they figure this out with live streamers and roll it out to the rest of the platform?
Then the other challenge that we have is making sure that as these creators are getting started, we help connect them with viewers that might be interested in their content.
Kaboom! Boom! Another shot across the bow of Twitch. How many advice streams or YouTube videos out there say, you can't grow on Twitch. Twitch has no discoverability. Go make YouTube videos to attract an audience and then bring the audience back to Twitch. What if you can just stream on YouTube and bypass that step? By the way, speaking of bypassing steps, when we get to the discussion about Venn later on, the Video Game Entertainment and News Network, when we get to the discussion about Venn, I think Venn was able to skip straight into having a sub button on Twitch by skipping steps by building a following on YouTube. But we're getting way ahead of things. Let's just finish this video first. But yes, okay, YouTube, enlighten me. How are your algorithms going to be friendlier to up-and-coming bump-on-a-log creators than they currently are? Please tell me something I can be excited about.
Another area that we're actually looking at very seriously.
They changed the subject. Anywho.
Is what we call creator-led discovery. This is where...
Creator-led discovery. Does this mean you're making a raids feature like what Twitch has?
Where creators introduce other creators.
There it is! There it is! Raids on YouTube! There it is! Twitch! Your poor workforce is going to be in total scrum mode if you aren't responding to this very aggressively. You better start begging Santa Amazon for more resources to become more competitive. Raids on YouTube. I knew it. More details, please, good sir.
To their community and recommend them. So we've seen many examples of features like this in the live ecosystem, and we think that there is an option.
Who's been snooping around on Twitch in their off hours? Oh, man. Now, this is where myself and Mr. Nash go our separate ways. Because, again, narcissism versus empathy. Mr. Nash is technically correct when he says it doesn't make any business sense to raid somebody, because it's the equivalent on social media of, our business is closing for the day, so go to this other business that you may like better than us and never come back. But here's the thing. The best people, again, fan base versus audience, the best people that you will get watching you on any of these are people that actually like you and will come back. It's only the restrictions of live streaming that make that other thing an issue, where someone could technically like the other channel better and not come back to your stream. So, from a business perspective, if you are a cutthroat, dog-eat-dog, zero-sum game narcissist, like in big business, where it's us or them, destroy the enemy, break the competition, win, haha, winning! That makes sense. But then you get to these commentators that say, when you get started on Twitch, you're trying to build a community. You're not trying to grow and make money. You're trying to build connections with other human beings. So, which is it? The human side of all this or the competition side of all this? Because they are mutually exclusive. You will either use raids or hosts, to plug other people, or you won't. But I'll tell you, as a longtime YouTube veteran, YouTube used to have more community-friendly features like video responses and stuff back in the early days of YouTube. So the environment I speak of, these cold ones are messing with me, man. The environment that I speak of has already existed before, and did it destroy YouTube? No. Remember, YouTube's original motto, broadcast yourself. YouTube used to be focused on individuals and human beings and personas more so than it is today. The corporate stuff came later. So for the people that want to talk about raids are terrible on Twitch, one of the things that attracts people to Twitch is Twitch has that human side to it of joining a community and liking certain personalities that you're watching, whether they're playing video games or doing something else. They're kind of, again, the whole thing with parasocial relationships and stuff like that. This kind of environment, the archipelago, like what I talked about earlier on a previous show, the archipelago of YouTube and creators kind of pretending not to even acknowledge each other came later. It used to be there was a lot of back and forth between various creators. They never thought twice about talking about other creators and stuff. So to see some kind of move like this from YouTube on the live streaming side is a big thumbs up. Because, quite frankly, even if you don't believe in using raids on Twitch because of the business side of it all and the narcissistic side as far as I'm concerned, even if you don't believe in that side of raids over on Twitch, for feature parity alone, YouTube should have this as a competitor, so that you don't have a situation where you have certain features on one platform but not on another. Makes me wonder how Facebook is going to catch up to all this when these two are going at it so much. I hope someone's doing a lot of stuff over at Facebook Gaming as well. Okay, we've had this guy mugshotted as for long enough. Please, let's continue.
Opportunity for us to actually support these upcoming creators by adding some of these features to our platform as well.
Oh, supporting the upcoming creators. You mean, yeah, no mention of how this puts a shot across Twitch's bow. Red versus purple, the fight is heating up.
And then finally, our real goal, frankly, is that we want YouTube to be the preferred destination for a viewer when they want to watch a live stream.
Yes, 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 and again, yes. But you're going to have to figure out what to do about the psychological issue where YouTube's disciplinary system makes it very risky to both stream on YouTube and do videos, because everybody knows YouTube is incredible at uploads. Again, why would you put your involvement in this ecosystem where uploads are amazing and they can do so much for you over the long term? Why would you put that at risk as a streamer? That's the last thing they have to figure out. They can have feature parity with Twitch, but a content creator needs to know over on YouTube that a screw up in one of their live streams is not going to put their entire channel at risk. When you have the situations with live streaming where live streaming has risks inherent to it that does not exist in an editable environment, where the TOS stuff that could cause problems can be edited out beforehand.
And that means creating a really exciting and compelling user experience. So we're in the process of rolling out features like pin chat and polls that will make the live experience much more fun to watch and much more engaging. And then safety remains like one of our top concerns. And wherever possible, our first step is to try to do this automatically. So we don't want our creators to hire armies of moderators.
Oh, again, Twitch. You ever go to a Twitch channel and a bunch of people trolling and are like, hey, look, there's no mods. Yeah.
But we also think there is a very important role for the community and moderators. And so we're thinking about how we balance both of those and make live an environment that's safe for everyone.
Make an auto mod system like Twitch. Or are we about to hear that? Just like we did before with all the other stuff. I was like, is he about to say this? And then he did.
So I want to
remember when this was a boring conference call? They've really picked up the interesting factor of this. I thought they were just going to talk about remote business meetings and stuff. But no, they are talking about what it's like to be a streamer on YouTube. Very, very important stuff with the brewing war between red and purple.
make a comment for the audience. If you have any feedback or comments, please add. We literally read every single comment of yours. So this.
Watch my video when I put it on YouTube and I tag Creator Insider in the metadata. Or maybe I should put a transcript of this show in the comments. It could be a discoverability thing for people who watch Creator Insider. It's got about 1,500 views as of when I'm seeing this, posting on July 31st, which was today. Yeah, I got the push notification for this one. Maybe I should do that. That's a way of getting my name out there. So as people see me in the comments, it's only one click away from seeing my channel. So, things to think about after the show.
This is a time for you to make your voice heard. So with that, do you have any advice for, folks who are, upcoming live streamers and they're trying to make it big?
A few tips that I can give upcoming live streamers, right?
Go to Twitch and then come back to YouTube. No, just kidding.
Right? When you go live, pay attention to things like your title and description. These are actually the pieces of metadata that we use to try to understand what the stream is about.
Yes, that's also something with uploads too. One of the key reasons why I don't like the thumbnail meta on YouTube is because people are going overboard with it. And I think the general public is getting desensitized to it. And we saw on Ashney Christ's channel, and also my channel has some examples of this too, where crap thumbnails are actually getting decent views because, hey, what do you know? People watching YouTube videos just care about the content, not about your fancy schmancy thumbnail.
The other tip I can give creators is actually having an upcoming state can actually help you in terms of finding an audience, because a lot of times if you just start streaming immediately, it's actually hard to understand what the content is.
All right, is he talking about a starting soon screen? There's controversy about that on Twitch. Starting soon screens cause a bounce rate.
And who it might appeal to.
We'll leave that argument between Harris Heller and Devin Nash for another day.
Probably the most important tip that I have for creators is to just have fun with it. Like, let your personality shine and take advantage of this ability to connect with viewers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Persona. Showmanship. Making your content worth it for people deciding to spend their free time watching your stuff. I've got some kind of bug that's going around.
Thank you for sharing that, Vishal. And thank you again for your time on the Career Insider channel. Please add your comments to the video on what you think the live team should also invest in. And also, like, if you had a magic wand and you can ask live team to do anything, what would that be? So thank you, and keep it real. Thanks again, Vishal, for your time.
Give it up for YouTube and transparency, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for YouTube and transparency, something that is desperately needed in this online media world. Yeah, so I thought that would just be like a boring conference call, but I found ways to be interested in what it was these folks were talking about. Now, let's see. We're at 2.5 hours, and quite frankly, I'm getting a little hoarse here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fire everything back up, check notifications, chat, all this other stuff, chill for a bit, talk with chat about some things here and there. We're going to save then and doing more with Power Query for later on because, wow, man, I'm totally running myself into the ground here. So maybe tomorrow, so that way I can come in here fresh as well. So let's close that down. Let's take one more break. Let's talk about the things people have said in the chat, and let's get the alerts going and just have some fun. And when it's over, probably the most bizarre raid idea to raid another streamer that you folks have ever probably seen on here. It has to do with some of the stuff I want to talk about, but I am not spoiling anything. This is MultimediaJay radio style. Don't touch that dial.
257. MultimediaJay radio style.